Okay, so today I want to talk about a topic that's very important to note, right? How do you know if your memory has actually improved? Let's discuss. Hi, I'm Tansel, four-time Australian memory champion, international best-selling author, and your memory coach. And today we're going to look at memory techniques, memory training, memory improvement, all of that stuff to do with memory and see, does your memory actually improve? Why do I say this? Why do I bring up this topic? Because here's the thing. Whenever you do, say, a memory technique and you go and memorize 20 words, whereas before you'd only memorize a few, you think, oh, wow, my memory's improved. But in reality, has that actually happened? Right? I want to look at that. When I first started memory, I tested myself and I did really, really badly, right? And then when I learned the techniques, I pretty much remembered everything. Now, does that mean my memory's improved? Not necessarily. And that's what I want to get into, right? A lot of you watching may be beginners to memory techniques, may have just started. It's important to know this because you're not really improving your memory at the start, right? You're on your way, but it hasn't improved straight away. And the reason why I say this is that all you've really done is used a technique, right? Used a toolkit to get better. Right? It's like it's like traveling, say, on a horse, but now that you've discovered a car, you can go a lot faster. They're both tools, you can travel, right? You're just traveling better with the tool. So memory techniques are essentially tools. And the reason why this topic came up is that I work with memory athletes and people training for competitions as well. And one of my clients, he's amazing, awesome, and he's practicing the techniques. So he's getting better and better and better, but sometimes a recall suffers, right? And we put it down to, okay, maybe the memory is not improving, right? You can go through and use the tools really well. Like you can memorize whatever you want just by using the tools. I mean, it's insane, but the overall improvement, right, sometimes doesn't happen, because the recall is the same. That's the determinant point, right? That's how you know your memory really hasn't improved, if you've sort of either plateaued or get to a certain point, right? Where you just use the techniques, it works for you, and that's pretty much it, right? When you're put in more stressful situations, right? Let's say you're in a room full of people and everyone says their names and you still forget even though you've used techniques, that's a scenario as well. So let's get back to the main question, right? How do we know if the memory is improved, right? And what does the improvement look like? So in what I do is I show the tools for people so they can learn and remember everything they need very, very quickly. And when I work with people, they learn everything within an hour or two, let alone months of coaching. So, you can learn the stuff very, very quick and do the thing you need to do very quick, but improvement comes over time, right? Improvement comes over time. So what does that mean? That means if you're working on the correct exercises, the correct strategies and systems and all of that, then you can look at improvement, but it has to be a conscious thing. You can't just improve by constantly using the systems. All right, I'll talk about another client who I've been working with, and they're currently using Memory League to remember names. Right? I've got a lot of clients that I work with that use Memory League, and we train on that a lot. And if you don't know what Memory League is, just go to memoryleague.com and you can have a play around with memory techniques. So we jump on there and I get them to remember names. Right? Now, names is probably one of the hardest things to memorize because a name is on its own, it's unique. And when I say on its own is you can't really think of other things to connect it with. It's very, very hard. So for example, if you meet a Stephen, right, you think, okay, well, Stephen, you have to make up associations, things that you know that are connected to Stephen. So if it's someone you know, if it's rhyming with something, Stephen, even, I don't know, you just make it up. Or does it mean something like Stephen is stiff sort of close to that name, right? You have to make up something and you have to be totally creative. Whereas other systems like remembering cards, remembering numbers, you've already got pre-memorized images, right? So 17 could be a dog, 71 could be a cat, Ace of Hearts could be a hat, and so on. So you don't have to create images, it's already created. All you have to do is focus on the story, right? Whereas with names, you have to create something out of nothing, which is hard, and then you make the story. So anyway, going back to my story, my client was training for names and they were stuck at a plateau, and could not move further from their level, right? So we went through and diagnosed what could be the problem. And it turns out that they were using the system really well. They were making great stories, but the images weren't strong enough. And I spoke about this in one of my other videos, is that image formation, right? If you do that really well, that's going to help you along your journey to improving your memory. This is how important it is. We don't pay that much attention. We pay more attention to developing the story, right? The connection bit, because that's what memory is, right? But what are you connecting? Right? If you make an amazing connection, but the what are you connecting bit is not there, then when you go to recall, it's like, hang on, where to go? What was I remembering? Do you see what I mean? So I'll give an example. Let's say the image I want to remember is a vase, right? Vase, vase, one of those things. And I'll say I threw the vase at my location, right? And it broke. Right? Let's say that's the story and you're visualizing a broke vase. Well, that's a okay story. I mean, it's memorable, right? But how do you see the vase? Right? Is it a particular color? Is it, excuse me, is it see-through? Has it got flowers in it? Has it got no flowers in it? Has it got water in it? How big is it? Does it smell? Can you taste the vase? See what I mean? So I'm making the vase more memorable. And because I'm making the vase more memorable, the story I make afterwards becomes even more memorable, right? Whereas what people usually do is they've got an image, it's fairly static, meaning it's not doing much, and then bang, it goes onto a location, right? Yes, you can still remember that way and you can do really, really well. Like I managed to do that in competitions without even making the initial subject memorable, right? But you want improvement, right? You want improvement where whatever level you're at, right? And the best thing to do is work on that image creation, right? That's the first one. The second one is to obviously work on your story, right? Now, here's the thing. A lot of people, again, get this wrong as well. When you're working on your story, don't try and rush it, right? Do not rush the storytelling process. What you can do is, I've got a download site on my website, right? I'll put the link down below. You can download like random numbers, random words, even random colors and stuff, right? To really test yourself. But what I generally do myself, this is how I used to train, and still train to a point, is instead of recalling and testing myself, testing my memory, all I do is look at these lists, look at these words or numbers or whatever it is, right, that I'm dealing with. Create the image, make that image memorable, and then make the story, the connection story after that. So if it's one image to another, so if you got two numbers, you got 17 and 71, I connect those two together, right? Or if you got names together, you can connect the face and to the name and so on, right? Getting back to my point, what I do is I stay for a while, right? As long as I can, to try and visualize the image. And then once that's done and I'm happy with it, then I develop the story. And that could be like anywhere from, I do it within split seconds, right? But the slowest for me is like 30 seconds, even 1 minute. So it's almost like you're meditating on this process of creation, of connection, of memory, right? And if it's names and faces, which what I was doing with my client, I was saying, okay, go through the name, look at the name, visualize whatever image you get, and then create the story, then try and make it as memorable as you can, right? To really up that process, right? As soon as an image comes up, visualize it. Just don't even worry about the other bits, right? Just create the image, try and make it colorful, memorable, huge, whatever it is that looks memorable to you, and then get onto the second stage of creating the story, right? Once you've done that, then what's going to happen is your recall is going to improve, and over time, your memory will improve. Why? Because now you're using more of your visual, more of your senses, more of everything. And I know there's people out there that say, well, Tansel, what if I can't visualize, right? And I get it, right? Visualization is like pretty much like first level. If you can't visualize, well, use your senses. That's at another level. Like, can you smell, taste, hear, touch, see? Maybe not see, right? But use your other senses, because then what you're doing is you're incorporating emotions, because you get, emotion from those senses. Like, what do you feel by licking the vase, right? Is it disgusting? Is it tasty? I don't know. Do you see what I mean? So the more you create the strong visuals, the better. And to be honest, right, when you're reading something, you're not doing connections like via storytelling, right? You're just looking at images. So by practicing images, you can read a lot better as well. So there's a correlation there, just by training for better imagery in terms of your memory. So yeah, jump on that website, whether it's Memory League or my website for the downloads. Look at those bunch of words or numbers, but take your time and don't recall anything. Just practice. And I generally do it for a longer period of time, so anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes of just visualizing, right? Now you can go for longer if you wanted to. You can go half an hour, 1 hour, but I don't recommend that, because you're not really memorizing anything. It's more of a process of relaxing. The beauty is that you don't have to remember anything, so there's no stress, right? There's no time pressure. So take your time, visualize the imagery, create the story, and then move along, right? Just do that for 10, 15 minutes. You can do it. If you do it every day, my goodness, you'll see a massive improvement in your memory. I remember one client, this was over 10 years ago, going through this exact same process, and within 1 week, they came to me saying, Tansel, my memory's just improved out of sight. I'm remembering street names and people's names, even though we never practiced that, right? So it's more the process of how it works. So you want to improve your memory, this is a process, right? And if you want to improve it really, really fast and you want to do it now, then you can actually work down with me. Just go to my website, tanselala.com, and we can have a chat, because there's people out there that need to be able to remember, client details, or, their sales pitches, or, past exams, things like that. So if you want memory improvement really, really fast, then a coach is obviously your best bet. I can help you. So reach down below. If you've got any questions, please comment down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts about this as well. And if you've had the same experience where you've learned all these techniques, but there's been no improvement, right? And the reason why this topic comes is because I am a coach and I see these things. So my job is to help those actually improve. So please comment down below. If you've got any other ideas for videos, please let me know. I'd love to answer your questions. So thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.